Welcome back to another edition of Cooking, Real Estate, and Crime with Lou. Did you ever get in touch with Trek?
I did. And do you want to know why it's been waiting? They forgot to mark that I already had my license in another state. So they were expecting me to take the national exam again. And because they just didn't check the box. So she told me 48 to 72 hours when I called her Tuesday. So I'm thinking so either tomorrow or Friday, it should clear. She said that should have been all that it was waiting on. And I was like, you got to be kidding. I've called you guys twice.
It's crazy. Yeah. Let me turn on. No, I got all the lights on. I don't know why it looks so dark. Does it look dark to you or is it just me?
Might just be you. Do I look dark? I only have the one light on, so maybe.
Well, that's exciting. Now you get your real estate license. Yay!
Yeah, I know. I was like, man, but I'm like, well, I guess it was meant to be to wait this long. Just wait. Yep.
We had to meet. So we had to meet. So that's right. What had to happen.
Exactly. Yep.
All right. Well, you actually might like this. Remember I had said that my box it was in the front door or whatever. Well, I opened up my box and I got one that I thought that you might like actually. Oh, this one, the mushroom and pepper jack quesadillas.
Oh, okay. That sounds good, actually.
Yeah. It doesn't have any meat in it, so it's a veggie.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mushrooms give you all your meaty taste on that one.
I'm not a really big fan of mushrooms, but I'll eat them. They also gave me jam and fig pork chops and turkey bolognese.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
turkey bologna.
You paid
kind of an oxymoron, right?
Yeah.
And then let's see. So basically for everybody that's just now tuning in, I get a box chicken sausage and roasted tomato linguine. That actually sounds pretty good, except for the chicken sausage. I'm not a really big fan of this chicken sausage. It has a weird taste to it that I'm not really very much of a fan. But mushroom pepper jack quesadilla sounds pretty good. And it's
they all
easy. It's like one pan. You can do it all in your pan and then you got a meal. So this should be like a 20-minute conversation here. Oh, actually it says prep time 10 minutes.
I was going to say, pretty much you're just cooking I would think cook the mushrooms a little bit and
then brown and then put it in the quesadillas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically what I do is I get one of these boxes every week and then I prepare the meal for myself. I like to have somebody here with me, but my partner hasn't been showing up lately. So, and then the next time around, I usually talk about the recipe and if it was tasty or anything, and if I liked it or if I didn't like it. The last one that I did was let's see, which one was it? It was the pork tacos. And it was good. It wasn't like, super good. One of the things that I've noticed about these recipes is that they do a lot of tacos, but they don't do the tacos the way that I'm used to it's called cebolla and cilantro. So that's like that one ingredient that I think that their recipes are missing on the tacos is the cilantro.
Okay.
Because that makes everything taste better.
That's what they say. I'm not a big cilantro person, but my daughter actually loves cilantro. Yeah. We would find it when we made our I have, and I don't mind it. It's just kind of an
acquired
taste. Like
you
either love it or you don't like it. But I could eat it just like mushrooms. I don't eat a lot of mushrooms, but when I eat them, I like them. So
I'm not a really big fan of mushrooms because of I think it's mainly because of the texture and the fact that I'm eating fungus.
Yeah. You can't think
Throws
about
me
all
off a little bit. Yeah. Well,
Right. It's kind of like seaweed. It's like, oh, well,
oh,
get that off of this beach here. I don't know if I want to eat that.
I don't like the flavor of seaweed.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. Like cilantro, I love the smell, and so I can overlook anything as far as the taste is concerned, but it
Right.
makes everything smell so good.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
basically I get my box every week and it comes with all of the ingredients that I would need, except for maybe salt and pepper, and eggs and, some other smaller bits of ingredients. But see, like right here, it comes with the tortillas, mushrooms, onion, and one Roma tomato. And all the vegetables are actually pre-fresh. I can't say that I have found where any of the vegetables are bad, but they don't last for very super long. So let me see, what else do I need? Shredded pepper jack. Oh, that's Parmesan. Pepper jack cheese. Jalapeno. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm missing 2 more. Sour cream and lime. Lime and sour cream. And it does say for 2. So I love these boxes for some. I'm so addicted to them simply because their portions are perfect for just one meal. So I don't really feel like I'm wasting anything. When you go to the store and you get a thing of sour cream, if you're not using it every single day, sour cream doesn't last for very long. But all of the portions are very, very easy. Like this is cream cheese.
Okay.
You can't really find this in the store.
Right.
These little tiny portions like this. You get a big block of cream cheese, and if you don't use it all, then you're just wasting it.
Right.
So I love the fact that everything is like in these small little portions, perfect for your meal, and you're good to go.
Nice. Now, have you ever thought about making suggestions to the recipes to the people you buy the boxes from, or do you just kind of go with what they say?
Well, I mean, there's been some times where I make adjustments to the recipe myself, like, with my own ingredients. I'll put a different spice in it or more spices in it, or I'll add onions, or I'll add, like I said, for the tacos, I'll add the cilantro that I like to have in it. I mean, you can modify it, but all the basic ingredients are already there. So everything else is just kind of like at your own taste.
Right.
So this one should be a really easy one. So this week we were going to talk about, we're going to try this again. We recorded this before. Oh, let me make sure I'm recording. Yes, I'm recording.
I thought it was so funny. Yes.
I know we had done this once before, gone through the whole thing, and I realized at the end that I hadn't hit the record button. It was so bad. Oh, but anyway, so we're going to kind of review everything all over again and pretend that it's all brand new.
Right. Well, technically, I still don't have my Texas license yet. So still going at it.
But you'll be excited to have that. And it sucks because you couldn't have had it in December when it was, whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, it just wasn't meant to be. And, now it'll be the beginning of the year. And
at least they didn't tell you, oh, we forgot to check off the button that you had a broker's license in another state and you didn't have to take all those classes.
Yeah, they didn't say that. I asked that first. And I Googled that multiple times to double check, because I find it so strange that, especially like if you actually have been doing real estate,
you were active and all you had to do was provide them.
More than 5 years in another state, because the forms and things will be different, but a lot of the real estate itself, the concepts are the same no matter where you are.
Well, I mean, I think that it should be kind of like with Oklahoma. So now that you have your Texas license, you can get your Oklahoma license.
Yeah.
And they don't require that you take, they do require that you take 1 or 2 of the classes that pertain to the state. but they don't require that you take all of the classes, and then you just go and take the state exam.
Yeah, see.
And it should be like that.
Yeah, it should be really easy. I don't know why. But Texas seems to like Texas. So, for everything, it's like we don't really want any implants. We would like to have everybody born and raised in Texas doing Texas things. Yeah.
I don't know. I get that back and forth because I don't really have that problem myself, but I get that there's a lot of people that say that Texas is very cliquey. Like they only like people from Texas. But I've been welcomed with open arms, so I don't really have much complaints either.
Yeah, and maybe, small town, maybe.
Is your sound a little bit low?
No, I don't think so. Are you having trouble hearing me?
Yeah, I'm having trouble just a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, that's better.
Okay.
All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just going to chop up my veggies. It basically says to chop up your mushrooms, your onions, zest and quarter the lime, dice the tomatoes, chop the jalapenos, and then we're going to put it up in the pan to saute for a little while. And then there's the tomatoes don't go in there. The tomatoes are going to go into like a little pico de gallo with a little bit of the chopped onions and juice from the lemon and the chopped jalapenos. And then the sour cream, lime zest, and lime juice and a little bit of water, salt, and pepper are going to go into like a little bowl for the drizzle sauce. So it's very, very simple. The mushrooms and the pepper. They have a pepper? Oh, no, what? No, just salt and pepper. So the mushrooms are going to get sauteed with a little bit of the sliced onions. Tablespoon of butter. So you just need a little bit of butter too on this one.
Oh, okay. That's different.
I think that's for the caramelizing. Where's the butter? Where did I see that? Where did I see the butter? Oh, no, it's not butter. It's a teaspoon of sugar so that it can caramelize the onions and the mushrooms. Interesting.
I know,
anyway.
I was thinking that exact same thing. I was like, wow, that's very interesting. Sugar. Okay.
Yeah, they like to caramelize it with a little bit of water and sugar. Most of their recipes are going to ask to be caramelized. I'm going to probably decide. I haven't decided just 100% yet, but I might try one of the other box meals just to kind of contrast it and see what the differences are on the menus. Because, like I said, sometimes now that I've been doing this for so long, I think it's like 6 months. It feels like I'm eating a lot of the same recipes.
Right.
Everything's starting to kind of taste the same.
Makes you a good cook right here,
Huh?
I said it makes you a good cook. Yeah, doing the same recipes over and over again.
It does feel like I've cooked since I was 12 years old, so I don't have a problem cooking, but the recipes are easy enough that pretty much anybody can do it.
Oh yeah.
You don't need to be a chef in order to cook these meals.
Yeah.
To make it super simple, and 6 steps is really all it takes.
Yeah. And it's nice that it's not like getting 2 meals out of it is great. You don't have to worry about wasting a lot.
They do have different servings that you can do 1 serving, 2 servings or 4 servings or 6 servings, I guess.
Okay.
So if you have a large family, you can choose that. And then they also have a vegetarian menu. They have a child menu and a family menu.
Okay.
So you and I, we were going to talk about Georgia, since you have your broker's license in Georgia.
Yes.
You're going to talk about what it takes to get your real estate license in the state of Georgia.
Yes. Georgia, to get your real estate license, of course, like everybody, the 18 years of age, resident of this, you don't actually have to be a resident of the state as long as the broker that you choose
Is in Georgia.
has their license in Georgia. It's only 75 hours. It's like Texas, you could do the training online or going in and doing a class.
Does that come out to be only like 5 classes? Or is it like 25 hours per class? So it's only like really 3 classes? Or how many hours is each class?
I think it's like maybe 5 classes. Because everybody has to do the ethics always. And then you have the math. And then you have the contracts. And then finance. I'm trying to think of what the other one is. I have like one other one, but Texas also has more mineral type deals. Like you have more oil over here than Georgia has, so we don't really have a lot of whether or not the minerals or whatever go with
mineral rights also convey
the mineral rights. Yeah. So we don't worry about stuff like that, but yeah, it's real easy. And then of course, you only have to be with the broker for 3 years in order to get your broker's license. I think some of the other differences are in Georgia, you don't have to join a
MLS,
a realtor board. Yeah. Yeah. The MLS, there's one MLS that actually is you pay depending upon the transaction. And then there's
so it's not linked.
Yeah, it's another
It's not
one
linked to a board.
Yeah, neither one of ours are linked to boards in Georgia. So you either pay $20 a month or you pay per transaction. Or you could be a member of both of them, but they pretty much have all the same houses on them now. So people are starting to pick one or the other instead of having both.
So do they transfer, do they still transmit the MLS boards? Do they still or the MLS systems? Do they still transmit to realtor.com?
Yes. Yes. They all do. The Zillow, realtor.com. The same thing they probably do here. Like, I think it's every 15 minutes, realtor.com. And Zillow kind of pull the info out of the MLS systems.
I think they do. They do pull it out, but after 24 hours, I think is what it is.
Okay. A little later there.
Yeah. I was going to ask something and now I totally forgot. Well, okay. So your boards or your MLS systems are kind of like LoopNet here. Have you ever gotten onto LoopNet? So that's a commercial. It's kind of like for commercial listings and they're not attached to any, or Lands of America. Yeah, Lands of America.
Yeah, Lands of America where they do a lot of yeah. Yeah, they're pretty much like that. Mainly use the realtor board to get, we have 2 sets of contracts. They have contract, and I don't know if they do that here, but we have a set of contracts if you belong to a board, and then we have another set of contracts if you are just an agent or a broker without a board, because you don't have to have the board. Yeah, so most people use the boards for the training, to get their free training, like CE classes, things like that. They used to do meetups and things before the virus took off, but yeah, like I said, they kind of broke it off. And once they stopped you from having to join a board, unless you really want the other contracts, it's not worth it. Our boards, though, they're about $400 a year, so they're not like overly expensive, but
the boards here, you'll start seeing. Did you do some research on that, on the MLS boards?
I did a little bit, not enough yet. Yeah, I will though before Friday. Yes.
The one on the one that I'm a part of is Arlington. No, not Arlington. Greater Denton Wise Association. And then there's also one in Arlington. And there's one called Metrotex, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
That might be a little bit closer to where you're at, but it could be also one in Frisco. This is because Corinth is kind of close to Frisco.
Yeah, it is right across the water. Yep.
Mhm. So you have a couple of choices. All right, I didn't realize it, but it says to do the onions by themselves. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these mushrooms off now that they're sauteed a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do the caramelizing of the mushrooms, but I mean the onions by themselves. I think we'll almost be ready to make our quesadillas.
Right.
So getting a real estate license in the state of Georgia is actually pretty simple.
It is.
And since you've been there for how many years were you a real estate agent in Georgia again?
I got my license in 2003, so that would be about 18 years. Yeah. Yeah. And Georgia is one of the great states that does a lot of
reciprocity.
Reciprocity. Yeah. So, Alabama usually is really easy to have your license in. Florida, both of the Carolinas. Not sure about Tennessee though. A lot of people don't talk about Tennessee, but I think one of my brokers, she probably had her license in like 6 or 7 states. So,
whenever you have them in multiple states like that, do you have to pay your dues in every single one of those states? Because here you have the NAR and the TAR dues, and those are dues that are due at the end of the year.
Yeah. You guys are Texas is a little different in the way it does the dues. Like Georgia, you don't really have any dues. You pay your renewal fees every 4 years, but you don't really have like yearly dues at all, unless you join a board and then you pay your board dues. But other than you don't pay anything. I know for Florida, you really are just paying your application fee. I don't even think you had to take the exam in Florida.
Oh my God, that's kind of a little bit scary.
Yeah. There's some scary realtors out there though. Yeah, that's for sure.
Because here in Texas, we're all about the fiduciary responsibility. And so that's, I think, why it's so complicated to get your license, is that you're in a position of trust. Yeah, I mean, you have clients that are basically trusting you with their financial information.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a pretty awesome responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why we have. I'm guessing that they do fingerprints and they do a background check.
Oh yeah, we have to do the fingerprints and the background checks as well. Yep. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember having to do that if you was to get it in another state, if your broker was already licensed. I don't remember those being requirements, but to get your initial license, yeah, you have to do the background checks.
And actually here in Texas, just recently, they are requiring an FBI background check.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm surprised that they didn't do that for you.
Well, my fingerprints were done in 2018, so maybe they weren't doing it at that time.
It feels like I actually had to submit my information for a FBI background check, but maybe that had to do with the fact that I also am I have a federal, just putting a little bit of sugar in here for the caramelization. That I work for Fannie Mae, so maybe Fannie Mae was going to require it.
Oh, I don't know, maybe. I never heard
it. Just feels like I actually had to. Yeah, it feels like I had to do that, and I don't remember if it was something that everybody's doing right now. I don't know. I'll have to do a little research on that one because I don't remember anymore. But
Yeah.
it was like it happened right after COVID.
Okay. See, I had, like I said, I actually did the application and everything back in 2018, except there was, I don't know what they were doing back at that time, but like when you took the course, you had to actually send them an email with the certificates and stuff on them. And I always had a problem. Like I would send them like 4 attachments and they'd come back and tell me they didn't get one. And I used to be like, well, how could you not get one if they're all on the same email? But it was just such a struggle. So at least now when you take your courses, they go through automatically.
And they used to do that. I don't know. I mean, for me, it's a little bit different because I'm just putting salt and pepper in there, and then I'm going to squeeze some lime. I actually got my real estate license back in the day whenever they actually had classes in classrooms. Like I went to Vernon College and got my classes done. But now everything is online. So they're even starting to do proctored exams and stuff like that for the classes. I don't know if you had to proctor your exam or not.
I did have to proctor my exam the first time because I took the course, I signed up for the course, and then I realized it was costing me more to pay to get it proctored than it was to take the whole course. And then the exam, like I did go in, but they did offer that, like when you took your exam, that you could take it at home and have a proctor do it, but I didn't know how. Yeah, I just figured like that would be a bit much to take the exam. Plus, I'd already passed it like so many times. I felt like, hey, it's a piece of cake now.
Okay. All right. Well, what I was saying is that when I went to go take my exam, they had me take all of my jewelry off.
Oh yeah.
Take all my earrings. I couldn't wear my glasses.
Oh.
See the screen.
That was weird. But yeah. Yeah, I had to do that too. And then they check all your pockets. Yeah. And it was cold in there, so I asked to put my sweater on. So, but he had to check it out. So, but yeah.
My thing is, you know how it is. Everybody feels anxious about taking tests and stuff like that. For me, after I took the test, after I took especially my broker's license, I was more scared that they were going to tell me that I passed.
Really? Huh.
I don't know why. I was like, oh my God, what happens? What happens if? Because once you become a broker, you can't go back and become an agent.
Right. Oh, okay. Unless you go
to be an associate broker.
Yeah. Huh? Unless you move to Texas and you have to start all over again. Yeah.
That's one thing that I wonder about is if I'm a broker in the state of Texas, can I go to Georgia and get my broker's license, or do I have to do all the classes all over again and become a realtor?
I bet you could probably be a broker.
Really?
Yeah, I would think so. I that's curious. I never thought about it, but I bet you could go at the same level.
Huh.
Yeah.
That kind of sucks for, well,
yeah. I didn't know any state really that made you start all over again, as if you had no experience whatsoever.
Well, it just means that you're going to have an easier time of it. So you need to start getting your sphere of influence all lined up.
Oh, yeah. Yep, working on it. Yep.
Get all those referrals.
Yep.
So tell us about some crime in the state of Texas. In the state of Georgia. I'm sure you've got plenty of stories to tell us about what goes on there in that real estate world.
Yeah, I will say that a couple incidents, Georgia, and I would imagine this has probably happened in a lot of states. They had a couple of ladies who were sitting a subdivision over in Powder Springs, which is a suburb of Atlanta on the east side. And somebody came up in there and tied them up and killed them while they were sitting the subdivision. So at that time, you know, things started getting to where a lot of brokers were requiring you to get a driver's license before you actually went out and met people. But I mean, these ladies were sitting a subdivision, so there's really nothing they could do. Somebody just drove up there to pretend like they wanted to see the house, and that was that. I have a really good friend who worked for Remax, and he had a couple of husband-wife combo in his office that he was real good friends with, and they attended a closing with the buyer, and then all three of them in two cars went to a house the buyer bought after closing to give her a housewarming gift. And there were a couple guys in the house already that was assaulting a woman. And when they went into the house, they also got assaulted. The husband got put in the hospital for, I would say, at least a month. They really beat him up really bad. They assaulted both of the other women. So yeah, that was real traumatic. And that was really scary because it was I didn't like live there, but I lived probably maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes from there. So it was really close.
Right.
So, yeah. Plus, it was just kind of hard. Like, you're just taking you're just showing a house, but Georgia got hit really bad with the foreclosures. So that 2008 to 2000, probably 14 or so, the majority of all the houses on the market were all empty. So it was really
They were all foreclosures, or they were just the owners had moved on?
The majority of them were all foreclosures, actually. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they had a lot of mortgage fraud. So, and they had a bunch of, when the foreclosures first started happening in 2008 and 2009, a lot of the people that lived in like some of the real expensive subdivisions, like 800 to $1 million in the area, what they were doing is, if their subdivision was getting hit with foreclosures for $300,000 and $400,000, they were getting loans for those $300,000 and $400,000 houses that was just like their 800,000, and then they were letting their 800,000 get foreclosed on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That can't happen anymore, because if you're going through foreclosure, well, I mean, I guess
it still can if you get the loan and everything approved. I mean, you're talking what, 30 days or less if you got a good lender and you got the money that you could close on another property as a second home, and then you let the first one go. I mean, it made logical sense. It didn't really help the market out, but I mean, why would you keep paying a mortgage on $1 million house when all of the, half of the houses on your street are selling for half that price? Same homes. Yeah. And people were really.
I'm putting my vegetables and everything in my tortilla.
Nice.
And my jack.
Ooh, watch it.
Yep. There we go. So touching things that I'm not supposed to be touching. That's what my daughter would say.
Right.
So basically the food is already cooked. You just have to put it in the tortilla. And then I made a cream, which is just sour cream, a little bit of lime, salt and pepper, and then some of the the lemon zest. And then they had me do a little pico de gallo, which is just the onions, tomatoes, and jalapenos. And this is where if I put a little bit of cilantro in here, it would just add that flavor. And you could also add cumin or adobo or whatever spice that you like. My kids and I, we've gotten addicted to this slap your mama. Have you ever tried that?
I have never tried that.
It's called slap your mama.
Okay.
And you can get it in even the Walmart, and they have it in the yellow one and the red bottle. The red bottle is like super hot, super spicy. And then this one is a little bit more mild, but it's still spicy. So you gotta liberal, and don't put too much of it because it is salt. It's a Cajun.
I was wondering if it had like a lot of salt in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you really do have to be careful. Don't over spray it. It's got salt, red pepper, black pepper, and garlic.
Yeah.
But it makes it taste really good. So basically you just make your tortillas like this, and then you cover it with your cilantro and the cream, however much cream you want, and it is a done meal.
And you're ready to go. Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry?
I said they should all be that easy.
Oh, yeah. So, any other crimes that you wanted to tell us about? There, I'm guessing that there was a lot of mortgage fraud, obviously, there as well.
There was a lot of mortgage fraud.
You had told me about one kind of mortgage fraud that I had never heard of before. I can't remember what it was anymore.
Yeah, they were like, in Georgia, you had the agents, they had attorneys that would close the loans. They had the lenders who were doing it, and they also had the appraisers. And
the appraisal thing that you were telling me about.
We were able to do before they passed those laws is we were able to call up the appraiser and say, I need you to do the appraisal on this property, and this is how much I need it to appraise for.
So that they could do 100% financing.
And then you could do the 100% financing. You could either do a full 100% loan, or you could do an 80-20, and the 20 was a second loan that you also signed at closing. So you did the first loan papers, and then you had your second loan that covered all your stuff. And you didn't have to come out of pocket for anything, because the second loan, if you had it high enough on the appraiser, you could write in all your closing costs.
Wow.
So
basically people were getting loans for houses that they really couldn't afford, obviously, because if they can't put anything down. I wonder how they got away with that as far as like the debt to income ratios. Were the debt to income ratios not really a thing?
They were a thing, but it was just a second loan. Plus, if the house appraised high enough, all of the numbers could actually work out.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, they did so many of them around the area. I even had clients that we went to the closing, and back then the lenders did not have to give the disclosures, the settlement statements and stuff. So people would go to a closing and they had no idea. And mainly it was because of the second mortgage that they were taking out at the same time. They didn't know what those rates were going to be. They only got the interest rate on the first mortgage. And then the lender could do whatever he wanted on the second. And then they just didn't have the papers at closing that they signed. And my clients, they had already moved in the house a couple weeks early. So they were already in there, so they had to close. But they were like crying at the closing because they knew they couldn't afford it. But they were able to refinance 2 weeks later, take $15,000 extra out of the house because they did the exact same thing that we had did to get in there. And they walked away and never paid a mortgage payment or anything. They just walked away. Yeah, didn't matter. Yeah,
they didn't care if their credit was fucked for life.
Well, it's not,
or at least for 2 years.
That part is, it's not really, it's not messed up for life. It's only messed up for a few years, and you bring it back up and you go with it. Yeah. I'm sure they're in another house by now. Yeah.
So it wasn't just real estate agents that were causing the issue or doing the fraud. It was also clients that were doing the wrong thing, or
Yeah. A lot of it was
getting
a lot
themselves
of
into a situation.
Yeah, because the clients weren't really doing fraud. There was an option that somebody offered them, and it was a solution for them to get out of a situation they were in. Unfortunately, the lenders were doing wrong, but they're still sending people to jail in Georgia for mortgage fraud. Yeah, just probably maybe 2 months ago, I read about 2 people from Stone Mountain, Georgia, who one had to do 5 years and the other one 3, and pay like $500,000 in restitution for their point in some mortgage fraud. Yeah, it's a little harder today though, but they're still, I guess, trying to find them. But yeah,
I think that's probably why Texas hasn't been hit with stuff like that. Like our market values are pretty steady because we don't have, even back then, even though you didn't have to do all the disclosures and all the extra rules and processes that we have now, it just doesn't feel like there was that much crime involved, because we as real estate agents have been scared into doing the right thing, so we wouldn't let our clients get into that situation. I don't think Texas really was affected by it because of that. We have 180 credits, and back in the day it was a lot easier to get your real estate license. I think it was only like 90 credits that you had to have when you first got your license, and then you still had to do the other 3 classes or whatever. This was like 10 years ago, so it has increased a little bit since then. But even back then, they always beat the fiduciary responsibility into your head as a real estate agent. All the classes always talked about fiduciary responsibility and being ethical and being honest and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm not saying that Texas is perfect or anything like that, but it just didn't feel like we had those kinds of issues here.
Yeah, but
and that's why our market didn't get killed.
And I think that you probably don't have as many. We had more investors. It was, we had a lot of the same investors who had multiple properties. And once they got into trouble with one, like if they got in trouble with their home, they would take the rents off of their rentals to pay for their home mortgage, and then the rentals would go under.
Investors. Yeah,
and then people were paying rent when they were also getting foreclosed on. I think you guys also have a lot more, like you have maybe more rent to own kind of things, which are a little
sketchy.
shakier. Yeah, sketchy.
A little sketchy.
Yeah, we don't
shady.
do that so much in Georgia, so that. But I think at the time, a lot of people in Georgia took advantage of the other options in the situations. So
here we have had a lot of problems with rent to own versus owner finance. There's a difference. When you're renting to own, you're just doing it on a rental contract or a rent to own contract. It's not an actual deed where you're transferring the ownership. So rent to owns are generally considered voidable and not enforceable, I guess is the correct term for it. But you do get a lot of investors that are still doing the owner finance, because there are a lot of people in this state that can't get lending because of the rules and regulations of the lending corporations and stuff in the lending arena. But that's getting a little bit easier. Like during COVID, we had to have, or right before COVID, they stopped doing anything below 580. Somebody that to qualify for a loan, they had to have a 640 credit. You couldn't find a lender to go below that. Now I think that you can actually find a lender that'll go all the way down to 580.
Oh, okay. Again, yeah. Yeah.
Now that the foreclosure moratorium has been lifted, but
Right.
we're still seeing a very slow trickle of foreclosures right now. So I'm just waiting for that spigot to open, and it's I don't know. I keep going back and forth on whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it was, I mean, even though like Georgia got hit so bad where you could, you know, houses that you could buy then in decent neighborhoods around 20 to 50,000, they're now going for 200 to 250, which is even more than what they were going for before the foreclosure. So, you know, everybody knows in real estate, it's, you know, the market can go down, but I also know areas where it never will probably recover. Like, parts of my Ohio state got areas that probably will never go back up to what they were beforehand. But I don't know. It's kind of iffy. I don't know if it's good or bad. No. But I thought it would have happened by now, actually.
Yeah. I think I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think that within the next 6 months to a year, we're going to really see what the foreclosures how it's going to affect our market. But I appreciate you joining me again.
It was fun. Yes.
We'll have to do this more often. You'll have to join me on, when is it? Sunday. Sunday, we'll have another agent panel. If you have some time, you can join us then. And then always, anytime you want to sit and cook with me, you just let me know, and then we'll pick another state. You can help me research some crime in one of the other states if you have some time.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe. Have you done Ohio yet?
Nope. Haven't done Ohio yet.
Okay.
So if you want to look up Ohio and find something juicy for us.
Yeah. I need some juicy stuff. Need to be ready. Okay. All right. Well,
all right, lady.
It was fun. You have a great evening.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
All right.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.